Alright, so with Fresh News, I've given you a couple examples of how to use the different style sheets. And there's 19 different default style sheets that Woo Themes gives you on this Fresh News theme that allows you to change the look and feel of your site without you doing any coding. So you do have a good amount of control with this, but you don't have ultimate control with it. And I'm going to show you some coding to be able to change things around that you would only be able to do if you knew the coding. So to take that one step further, let's say if we chose the black style sheet, which is what we did, and I want this top header up here and my header to be completely black like it is. Well, I can change these to black or blue or green, orange, red, whatever color I want, while the rest of my style sheet is going to stay intact. This navigation bar, the color of my post and my widgets. And another thing I can do is change the background color right here while the header stays intact. So this header and this background color I'm able to change and leave the style sheet the way it is. Even if this is brownie or black and blue, it's going to stay intact. So I want to go into the back end and I want to change this to a lighter gray. I'm not really sure if I like that dark of a gray, so let's go back in here and I go to Fresh News and go to Theme Options. Then I come into Styling Options, Body Background Color, and I'm going to select a lighter gray. Let's say that should work. Save changes. Go back to my site and refresh. There you go. All right, and another thing you might notice is that this turned from one column over here where test post was at the top and hello world was right below it, and it changed over to this 3-column layout right here. And you might like this. That's totally fine. I don't think it looks bad or anything, but let's say if I want to change this back to where I have these bigger posts over here and it's a 2-column setup. Let's go back into the back end and I'm going to go to, what is it, layout, and then scroll down. See where it says home, normal post, 1-column layout. Go ahead and click that. Let's go back to save all changes, come back to my site and refresh. Alright, so that put everything back to the way it was. I like this top being black right here. I like this being like a light gray. I like how this style sheet has the writing up here as white instead of the black, how it was when I chose the white style sheet. We got it to where I have 2 different navigation bars up here that are my actual navigation, my other blog being included in that. And then I like how these widgets over here and my posts are both white. I'd say that this is a little bit darker than white, but this right here is going to be completely white, and I think it looks good. There's a little bit of a contrast in that it's easy to see, it's a clean look. So now let's say, for instance, if I want to go in and I want to start doing a little bit of coding. Where that's going to be found is you go back to your dashboard and then you come over to Appearance and you go to your editor. Alright, so the first thing you're going to see is where it says Style Sheet up at the top. Now this is the style CSS code, and this is it's made by Fresh News, and this is everything that is your site. But the first thing I want to let you know is right here where it says warning, do not edit this file. They make it to where they're going to update the theme. You know, if there's a couple bugs with this, they're going to completely rewrite this style sheet right here and they're going to drop it in when you do an update. And if I come in here and let's say if I take this floating in alignment and I change this right here, well, it's going to mess everything up, and it's going to make it to where my site can have bugs that it normally wouldn't have. It's also going to make it to where it's not going to be able to update because when they search through all this, it's not going to be intact for them to replace it. So the way they have it set up is if I want to come in here and I want to take this code right here, I can highlight the whole thing and I can copy it, and then you go over here where it says templates. If you scroll down to the bottom, you're going to see the 2 styles. So there's the style sheet and then there's the custom CSS. So go ahead and click on the custom CSS. Now this overrides everything in the style sheet. Alright, so if I come in here and I paste something and then I click update file, this file right here is the only thing that's going to be updated, and it's going to override everything that we just saw in the style sheet over here. So let's go back to our site, and let's say, for example, if I want to take this top navigation bar right here and I want to delete this altogether. Well, let's go back into the dashboard, and I'm going to delete this because this was just an example. And let's go down to the style sheet and let's find that in the style sheet. Alright, so let's scroll down and let's look for top, which is going to be where the top header is going to be located. And there it is right there. So somewhere in this code in here is where that top navigation is going to be. And if I'm not mistaken, it's going to be this one right here. So let's go ahead and copy that. And let's put the custom CSS. Go ahead and paste that in there. And then I'm going to go in the dashboard of Virtual Nutrition and Fitness, which actually has the code already done. Let's copy this as well and paste that in here. Alright, so do you see where it says top right here, and then you see these brackets? Everything after the bracket or within the bracket is going to be the code. So if I change this entire thing right here to where it says display colon and then none semicolon, what that does is that's going to completely delete it. So I'm going to get this out of here, and let's leave that code in there. I'm going to click on update file, and then let's scroll back up. Let's go to our site and refresh, and you're going to see this top navigation bar disappears. There we are. Alright, so for another example, let's say if we want to get this RSS icon out of here. Let's go back to our style sheet, and let's look for the top RSS. Alright, so in the main navigation bar, see where this one right here says top RSS, height 38 pixels. Well, that's going to be right here, top RSS, display none. Copy that. Let's paste it in the custom CSS. Alright. Alright, so I have top display none and I have top menu RSS display none. Click on update file. Let's go back to our site and refresh. And you can see how this RSS icon has been deleted as well. So let's take this one step further and let's try and change the color of this navigation bar. So if I come back into my dashboard and I go to fresh news and I go to theme options, of all these different style sheets, I believe the only two that will allow you to change the color of the navigation bar is going to be Brownie. Save changes. Let's go back to our site and refresh. You can see how it changed the color of my post, my widgets, and this navigation bar. And I really don't like that color scheme at all with the black header and with the gray background. So let's try a different one. Let's go to black and blue. I know is one that'll do it. Save changes. Let's go back in and refresh. Alright, so you can see how my posts and my widgets both went back to white, and now my navigation bar is going to be this light blue. So let's say if I don't like this light blue and I want this to be a darker blue or like a red, what I'm going to do is come back into Virtual Nutrition and Fitness. I'm going to highlight this right here, which is going to be the code for the navigation bar, copy that, and I'm going to paste that in here. Let's go ahead and click update file, come back to our site and refresh. There it is. So that's going to be that darker color. Now you're going to see these little light blue lines in here. And let's say if I want those to be black or white or maybe the same color as this bar. Let's go back in here and I'm going to copy this bit of code, which is going to be the rest of it. Alright, let's update the file. Come back in and refresh. You're going to see how those lines disappear. And that's because that's the way I had it set on Virtual Nutrition and Fitness. But let's say if we want those to be white or black lines. I'm going to come back in here and let's go ahead where this says the color. Let's go ahead and make it white. Update the file. Come back in, refresh. Alright, so now I have the white lines. Now let's say if I want to make them black. Let's come back in. Update the file again. And now my lines are black. So another example, let's say if we want this navigation bar right here to be red. The way that you're going to change it from the code of blue to the code of red, let's go back in and let's go to fresh news because we got to find a color wheel. And then if I come to styling options and I click on one of these boxes, it's going to bring up the different codes for color. So let's scroll this up to red and let's drag this around, and you can see how the color code is moving around. And you can also see in this box right here, it's going to show me what color the outcome is going to be. So let's move it down a little bit. Let's get it to a darker red. I think that one right there is pretty good. And I'm going to copy this code right here. Let's go back into our custom style sheet, and let's go ahead and actually it's going to be this one right here. Let's paste that in there and update the file. Let's go back in and refresh. Now I can see how it's red. And if I want these black lines to go away in between each one of the different pages, let's go back in, and that's going to be right here. I'm just going to paste the same color code in there, update the file, come back in and refresh. Alright, now those black lines have disappeared. So what I'm going to do is let's go back into Virtual Nutrition and Fitness. Let's go to Appearance and Editor. I'm going to scroll back down. Let's go to the Custom CSS. And underneath this video that you're watching right now, I'm going to take all these important pieces of code from my custom style sheet on Virtual Nutrition and Fitness, and I'm going to paste those down at the bottom, like your top, to be able to copy that and paste it into your custom CSS. The RSS icon, this top navigation bar, I'm just going to put those down there so that you can work on this on your own site. And then let's get some of this stuff customized the way that you want, and that'll get you set up for the next tutorial.